Steven, I got a room here in Florida. It's got 4 rooms. It can sleep 11, and I'm just one person. I'm so cool.
Hey, Steven, what's the temperature there in New Jersey?
It's actually not terrible. It's 53 degrees right now.
What?
But yesterday was freezing.
53?
Yeah. It's going to be 50s the next few days, and I think it was 22 like yesterday.
Yeah, when I left, I had to be like, I'm not taking a winter coat. I'm going to just take a light coat, and because I just needed it for the morning. And right now it's 76 degrees and sunny with parts of clouds in the sky, some wispy clouds, some happy clouds in Orlando, Florida, the home of, I don't even think anything's ever been in Orlando. Nothing.
I'm not going to say it.
Birds?
Mickey Mouse.
Who?
Mickey Mouse.
I never heard of him. That's right, smoking Mickey Mouse. Hi, I'm Mickey Mouse from 1950. Do you like cigarettes? Because I'm going to help you. Me and my buddy Joe Cool are here, and we're like, hey, kids, here's a stogie. Anyway, I'm here in Orlando, Florida. I flew down the other day into PBI, which is Palm Beach International Airport. I think that's what the I is for. Lots of old people on the plane coming down to warmer climate. I flew there because I went to Port St. Lucie to test out the 300 to 600 Sigma. That's the reason I'm here, is to do a bunch of different shoots there. And I went out to the Mets because they gave me a pass and then I could hang out there. Technically, oh no, the pass they gave me is only good for the Mets. I don't have a whole pass. Like I could fly over to Tampa and be like, I'm going to shoot the Phillies today because it's just a Mets pass. But the whole impetus of this trip was to just bring the 300 to 600 out and really give it a testy McTesterson to see how it is.
So how is it?
Oh, I've got a lot to say about it, and I don't want to jump right into it yet, Steven. There's other stuff to talk about. Like, what kind of car did I get when I rented a car?
Porsche?
Yes, Steven, a Porsche. I had the option, like a mid-size SUV. Like when I look at it and it's like, you could pick this SUV and it says RAV4 or like, I'm like, I don't drive that shit.
Peasant mobile.
Yeah. And the next level, it's like Ford Edge or other. And I guess I kind of forget that Ford Edges are actually pretty big.
I thought the Edge was smaller than like an Explorer.
It is, but then they have that other one. They have one other one that's under the Edge. No, that was the Edge.
I think the Edge is yeah.
That's what I thought, but I ended up with an Acadia, a GMC Acadia with 2,300 miles on it. It feels like a tank coming from my Model Y. It doesn't have the giddy up. It's got a lot of technology. The worst part is I think the seat is super uncomfortable. Like of all the things, the seat isn't very good.
In what way?
My ass hurts, my back, no, more so my back hurts. My ass doesn't hurt, but my back hurts. And there is lumbar support. It just doesn't feel comfortable for long rides. That doesn't. The car, I mean, it handles nice. I mean, it's big, it's heavy, it's a big vehicle. And it's got a lot of technology in it, lane assist, which I like to use. And then it has Apple CarPlay, nice big screen. Because I will tell you, Apple CarPlay is so much better than like what Tesla's integration is. Because if I'm on the phone with the Tesla, it won't then announce the road stuff, like the map stuff. Whereas Apple CarPlay just is integrated and works. I wish the Tesla would do that.
So is the car too big for you?
No, I can handle big things, Steven. And yeah, I can handle big things. And no, it's fine. I got used to it real quick. I like some of the amenities and some of the features that it has. They have this feature for vibrating seats. Also, it has, I guess, front end collision avoidance warning, because I did that when someone slammed on their brakes, and some red thing flashes and then your asshole vibrates because the seat vibrates in different places to give you warnings. So like if a car's coming up on your left and you're about to go, your left ass cheek vibrates. Huh. The other one is your right ass cheek. And then they have another for just taint control.
That's cool. When we went to Disney last year, I was renting a car, and I think I initially signed up for like a sedan, and they're like, we can upgrade you. And I'm like, all right, we can go a little bigger if you want. I'm like, sure. They gave me like a GMC Yukon XL, like their biggest giant SUV. This thing was a tank. I didn't even think I could drive it out of the parking garage. Thankfully, I did. And I will say by the end of the week, I actually liked driving it. And now I'm back to my shitty little sedan. But yeah, at first I was like, whoa, this thing is way too big for me.
I just imagine the size of Cadillacs are the same size. The old Cadillacs, the 1970s caddies, the ones where you could put 4 bodies or 5 bodies in the back in the trunk. Those are like the size of Yukons. And watching people back those into spots, the spots aren't even big enough for them now.
Massive. I don't think I could fit one in my garage.
You let your wife drive that thing?
Yeah, by the end of the week, she drove it a couple of times, not far, not all the way to Disney and back where we were staying, but she did drive it a few times and she actually really enjoyed it. And she's tiny. So this thing was big compared to her.
I don't know about letting women drive certain size cars. I think that should be outlawed under the new administration. Women cannot drive big vehicles. I'm signing an executive order. No large vehicles for women. Just men with big hands like me. I have the biggest hands, no questions asked.
The nice thing about driving these giant vehicles is you do feel like you're owning the road at that point, and you really can see everything that's going on around you.
I'm owning the road. No one owns the road like me. That's so funny. I make myself laugh, Steven. So anyway, driving this vehicle, I'm flying out of Orlando. I'm in Orlando right now. This morning, I went and photographed birds on an airboat. So I rented an airboat. I had to buy 4 tickets for myself just to get a private tour because I do not want to be with Floridians. I don't want to be with the peasants. Yeah, I get my own boat. But I invited the guy that helped me get this room here, Mark, and I'll talk about the room in a minute. And then Paul was another just random guy on Instagram who I said, who's in Orlando under my latest post? And I looked at his stuff. He had a ton of bird stuff. I'm like, do you want to go on the airboat tomorrow? And he's like, yeah. So then I had those 2 people. So I just randomly invited those Fro listeners to come out and ride the boat.
So if one wanted to ride this boat by themselves, how much does it cost for 4 tickets?
$300.
Oof.
It's $75 a person for the hour.
Okay.
Steven, do you know who I am?
Chump change.
No, we're reviewing this lens. I'm like, I wanted to get the airboat. I thought I would get to see other birds. It was a little windy, so there weren't as many out, but I got enough. All we need to do is get the footage. I mean, this is why like Squarespace gives us money and other people give us money so that I can actually go do stuff. We don't always need to. Normally I don't travel and do stuff. It's just, I so happen to have the time available. We filmed a bunch over the last couple weeks, so there's stuff in the can. I was able to do Photo News Fix before I left. I did it on Sunday because there was enough news. And I don't know, I just got out of the cold weather for a minute, popped down here, just change the scenery for a little. Unfortunately, I'm missing bowling tomorrow on Wednesday because I'm now staying for Mystery Man's playing golf in the Arnold Palmer Classic Pro-Am. And he and Michael Collins, the caddy, who's funny as shit, he's around. And I got the PGA approved me because they asked for it for me. So I get to go on the other side of the rope and take some photos.
So what did they need to know to approve you?
I mean, that I'm friends with Mystery Man.
I was going to say. I mean, it's more like him saying, hey, he's with me. You're approved.
When I'm signing up for the PGA, they had information on the site when you're signing to shoot stuff. It's like, how often do you publish? How many followers do you have? And I mean, I literally write 2 million and every day because we have over 2 million followers across all of the social channels. But I publish something every day. But, there's nothing to hide. They approve it. I think I have to pick up my parking pass, and I'll be out there hopefully tomorrow. I think the weather is looking, there might be some thunderstorms. There's a front moving in.
Oof.
But if I asked how long does a round of golf last for these guys, and they're like 5 hours. I'm like, cool, I'll be done in 30 minutes. I got to walk the whole course, like carrying a 9-pound lens. And that whole setup's like 11, 12 pounds with the EVF recorder and then the monopod and then the camera itself.
You're definitely putting in work that day for sure.
Let me run down the list of what I brought. So everything is Sony that I brought because it's a Sigma lens for the E-mount. And so I have the 300-600 f4. I have an A9 III. I shot with the original A1 this morning for birds. It would have helped if I put it in Bird AF earlier, but it's still in focus, right? Like it still finds the head and all that, but when you put Bird AF, it just shrinks down and finds the eye. So that was fine. I brought a 35 1.2 Viltrox lab lens, which is the lens that came in the mail before we left that they sort of announced but didn't really announce.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that.
It's so weird. There must be a language barrier difference between us and the Chinese person that I'm dealing with, because there's a little lost in translation stuff.
Well, I saw that they posted the lenses on their Instagram account saying they're here at CP Plus last week. Here's the new 35 1.2, blah, blah, blah. And then some people were commenting like, what's the price? Is this available for the X mount? And Viltrox themselves responded with, don't know yet. Not sure. It's just very odd for the official account to be like responding with something like that. Like, not sure, don't know.
I think they're still learning how to navigate this global market.
Yeah, it's like, here's the lenses, but we can't tell you anything at all. It's almost sounds like more of a development announcement, but obviously it's been developed because you have one in your hands.
I broke it out yesterday during batting practice.
And I question, like, we can't really say anything about it just yet because nothing's out yet.
Actually, well, they're like, please hold off on your full review. But this isn't our whole review.
No. I think you can say obviously that you shot with it and all of that, but I don't know if we can give away specs or pricing or anything because
no. We'll hold on specs, and we don't know if the pricing is official. So what I'll say is
not much to say.
Depending on the price, the 35 1.2 lab looks like it did well. It didn't particularly do well when I was trying to shoot Soto in the cage, because it would focus on the back. I had it focused on him, and then it would shift when he swung. So I don't know if there's algorithm things they need to change in the lens to make it better. I don't know how it's going to be for lock-on tracking compared to something like Sigma, which is now rumored to have a 35 1.2 version 2 coming out. That interests me. That would be, they said, smaller, lighter, faster focusing, better quality, because when I used that 35 1.2 with Bernie on a A7 IV, everything was sharp, everything was gorgeous. When the R5, when the next level of cameras came out, the A1, that 35 1.2 became garbage. I don't think it could focus properly on that camera, and that was one of the impetuses for me. I said that twice, impetuses. For me switching to Canon, other than the 28-70, was that 35 just stopped working right when the cameras got better. If the pricing can be similar, I personally am going to go with Sigma all day over the Viltrox, but it depends. Like if one is, say, $800 and the other is $1,600, that's a big difference. That's twice as much. But for a pro, I'm buying the best of the best with honors, sir.
So right now, the Sigma 35 1.2 sells for $1,500. Yeah, I wonder what the Viltrox is going to come in at, because we don't have final pricing on that, right?
No, we don't have final anything on that. I barely got specs or whatever I barely got an answer in English.
So it's another lab lens, which is their top tier, top of the line lens, above the Pro, which I think is very odd because I feel like Pro should be above lab, but whatever. Lab sounds more experimental beta to me. But their Viltrox 135 Lab 1.8 came in at $900. And if you compare that to something like the Nikon 135 1.8, that comes in at $2,500. So that's a $1,600 difference. Now, Nikon's 35 1.2 is $2,800. You take away $1,600 from that, and that's, I assume, what you're looking at for probably this 35 1.2.
Holy shitballs, Batman. I will say I sent back some feedback because I accidentally changed the aperture, and then I was turning the aperture dial on the front of the A1, and it wasn't changing the aperture. Nothing was happening. I did the spin dial. I'm like, well, which one is it? So right now it's only it's controlled on the lens, and I was able to put the click thing on, but if you accidentally turn this dial, it changes the aperture. So I dropped them a note and was like, you need to allow me to lock this.
And it's just a control ring that should be able to be programmed, right? It's not a dedicated aperture ring.
No, it's not an aperture ring. It's an actual like functioning ring.
Yeah, I'm looking right now next to the 85 1.4 Viltrox. The 85 has a dedicated aperture ring, but it looks like they took off the markings on the 35 1.2 to really make it a fully customized ring. I assume you can probably still customize the 85 though as well.
Yeah. Well, let me get back to gear. That was a little side note on that 35 Viltrox. I'll have more on it because I'm testing it out. I brought it really because if I got bored with the 300 to 600 at golf and I can get close enough to Mystery Man and all of them, maybe I'll still do test portraits on Michael Collins if he can fit in my frame.
Shots fired, man.
Shots fired. I love Michael. I'd said something to him. I'm like, he's like, yo, when I was a caddy, because he used to caddy on the PGA, he's like, I was in shape because you got to carry a 35, 40-pound bag around for 4 hours. I'm like, damn.
Shoulders
I'm like,
must
yeah,
be
you were in
killing
shape.
you by
What
the end of
happened
the
now,
day.
bro? Yeah. Well, because I said I got to carry around that 15 pounds of gear plus around my belt. But yeah, what else? I brought an A6700 crop sensor camera because I have the Sigma 16 to 300 lens that came out, which is something that I will break out tomorrow. I'm actually going to take it to today. I think in this afternoon, I'm going to go shoot with a Nikon ambassador, and she's going to be shooting spoonbills. And I don't know what a spoonbill is. It looks like a bird with a spoonbill, a spoon for a bill. And so I'm going to go out there. She said it's a little windy, but you never know. And I'm like, all right, so I'll take the drive, meet her in Orlando, some boardwalky thing, and go out there and shoot some photos.
The spoonbill looks like a flamingo pelican.
I hope it's pink flamingo. I love
it has
pelican.
Pink feathers.
Yeah, but maybe it just has that when it's mating or something.
I don't know. I'm just looking at Google Images.
So I also brought the Insta360 360 camera. I brought the Ace Pro 2. So I ran those for like the whole boat ride. The Ace Pro 2 was running because it was right by the fan facing out. And then on the front of the boat, I had the 360 camera facing back at me.
I hope you weren't shooting in 8K.
No. That one doesn't shoot 8K. I used the 1-inch instead.
I'm talking about the Ace Pro.
No, when I checked, it was in 4K 24.
Okay.
I didn't want it in 8K.
So how was the boat ride? Like, did you actually get birds?
I got birds.
Alligators? Like, what are we talking about?
Well, an alligator got a carp, got a big fish, and he said it was going to take a while to eat it. I can't see shit, so I didn't even see it. I saw the alligator part, but I didn't see it with the fish.
I forgot that we had to tell you when there was an alligator in the water for that Nikon Z6 trip. Remember, we'd have to be like, Jared, to the right. You'd be like, where?
I need spotters for everything because I can't see.
You really do.
It's very difficult. So especially finding birds, but
you'd be the worst birder.
I can't follow a golf ball. Like if I hit a golf ball, I would never know where my ball went. You know what? Apple needs to put a little dinger inside of the golf ball so I can track it and know exactly where it is. I'm surprised someone doesn't have NFT balls because I know that the golf Top Golf has NFT balls. Mm-hmm. That's how they track it all.
Yeah.
But it would be pretty good if you had an app. Well, it would need GPS or something. I don't know. That the whole course was. I mean, that's just for me. Whatever. The boat was fine. It's hard to direct the guy like, hey, when you see a bird, like, let's sit on it for a little bit and wait to see. But they're birds. They just sit there and then they fucking fly away. And really, I would have had him kill the boat, kill the motor when a bird started to fly just so I could track it without us moving. But I did well enough with the EVF recorder. I got plenty of that, so I'm good.
How was the light?
It was 9 a.m, so the sun was
hazy. Are we talking cloudy? Like
no haze.
Okay.
It wasn't like when we did 6, 7 a.m. the last time.
It was
as
real
the sun was
hazy.
coming up.
Yeah.
But that was kind of cool. That actually led to some good images. But no, good enough, man. So let me jump into the lens, and then we could talk about where I'm staying as well, and the Mets and how that worked. But the lens I shot. So before I came here, I went to Conowingo Dam. I think I talked about that last week. Going down to the dam to take dam photos of eagles flying and hopefully getting some birds in the water. And I've been there twice and I've been boned twice. I've officially been boned 3 times now because there was really nothing that happened. There were a few eagles. Actually, when I first got there, it was just me. And I was like, there's so many eagles flying. This is so amazing. It turns out they weren't eagles. They were buzzards. I just can't see and know the difference. And now I know the difference because they showed me, the eagles have the white tail feathers and the white tips. What was cool is there were a couple of other photographers that came out. One a few because I was coming, but there were only like 5 or 6, which is not a good sign. I was told that Conowingo Dam in November and December is the time to go when the birds are flying and feeding. It's fine. No big deal. I took a shot. I had time. I went. I was there by 6:14 a.m. as the sun was coming up. It was really pretty. It was really nice. And then I left around 10 o'clock because I was just like, fuck this. I'm not sticking around anymore to see birds just sit there and look at you.
I'm actually surprised you stayed that long. Knowing you, I would have thought you were there for an hour, if that, and peaced out.
No, I gave it a little bit more time.
Good.
And then Saturday, I had a bunch of shooting. I had lacrosse, women's lacrosse, which I really questioned how the lens was doing there because I was just discovering a few things like when you zoom, you can't track a subject and continually autofocus.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work on that. It just doesn't work. You can't do it. It's a limitation. The 15 frames a second feels like a limitation.
That's on par with most of the Sigma zoom lenses. Actually, I think all of the third-party lenses usually don't autofocus while you're zooming. I know with their 70 to 200 version 2, I believe it's the same thing. It does not focus while you're zooming, which is a major issue if you're shooting action, obviously.
Well, it was the same thing with the early 24 to 72/8 Sony lenses. Same thing. They wouldn't zoom and focus. So there's limitations.
But now the updated GM version 2s, you can focus
100%.
all the time. Zooming, not zooming,
they're
whatever.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
So quality-wise, it was hit or miss. Like some things were sharp, other things weren't. And I don't know, maybe it was because my finger was pressed halfway down and then I rested, but I didn't take my finger off and it didn't fully get sharp. Because when I was looking at the images, there's ones you're like, yeah, that's tack sharp. And then you see another and you're like, well, why the fuck is that not tack sharp? But when I went out to the Philadelphia Union game that night, what was insane, it went from 58 degrees, 59 degrees with me in a short sleeveless shirt on the sidelines, showing off for college girls. Showing off for the college girls. Like, hey, I'm like, hey, how many of you drive Subarus? And I was just checking. None of them answered me.
Hey, Uncle Rico.
Hey, when I could have gone pro. Could have gone pro. Hey, Napoleon, you want to see me throw it over that mountain? Okay, Kip. Uncle Rico. So when I shot the Philadelphia Union, those images look to be really nice and sharp. Limitation there is the lighting is something you have to watch out for. In shitty lighting situations, you're in F4. So if you're at 5,000 ISO at 1/1000th of a second, I could have been at 2,500 ISO at 1,000th of a second at 2.8. So those are things you just have to be aware of. But the soccer seemed to do better. The baseball yesterday with Soto on the field before the game and the game action, it did very well. At 300, at all stops, 300, 500, 400, 500, 600, and everywhere in between. It's just, I might be getting more comfortable with the fact that I can't be zooming, or if I do zoom and move it, I need to lift my finger and repress my finger later.
Sure. Just take some muscle memory at the end of the day.
Yeah, but those pictures of Soto on the field at 500 millimeters, I mean, they are super sharp.
Super sharp, super vibrant, crazy vibrant. If you were a professional sports shooter, do you think this lens will replace a 400 2.8 and a 600 f4 if you want the versatility of a zoom 300 to 600?
Yeah, well, for Sony, it's more like some of the people out here are shooting, they'll have a 2 to 6. It's more like, do they replace their 2 to 6 with this to give them more reach? It works, and it works for, I think, for a lot of the team photographers, the answer is potentially. If I get done this and the focus is where it needs to be and the images are more good than bad, then the answer to that is potentially yes, it's a great option because they shoot JPEG, they crop, they don't care about the f4.
And for those not shooting with a 200 to 600, but more on a, say, a 400 2.8 or 600 f4, they're shooting with a prime anyway. They're not necessarily zooming in, so they're used to shooting with a limited frame. So the zooming in and not focusing issue might not be as big of an issue for them, but I'm not sure.
Well, I thought about that too, because, well, this could act like a prime, but the whole point is it's a zoom, and you want to be able to track a subject coming towards you. Now, with that being said, it's not the most light throw in the world in terms of turning that zoom ring. It's got to move a lot of lens and a lot of glasses around. It's not super tough, but I can't use my thumb and forefinger to just move my thumb to turn it. It's too heavy for that. So my hand rests on top I have the monopod, hand on top, rotating that way.
Still faster than switching lenses, but it's not as fast as, say, a 200 to 600 or a 400 to 800 now.
But it's going to be better quality than the 2 to 6 and better quality than the 4 to 8.
Yeah.
And I know with soccer, I have tracking all the way towards me and will analyze those images. And, I came up with a new idea, a really unique, no one's ever done this before, but it's when a picture's out of focus, you make it black and white.
Oh, you're talking about what the Northrops do.
Yeah, so I sent Tony a message yesterday, and I was like, Tony, I like what you did with that. Do you mind if I potentially borrow that from you? Well, but I asked him first.
That's nice.
Because I wasn't just going to do it, but where I might change it is we make the image red, right, instead of black and white, even though that might take too much time to do a red overlay. I was just thinking I could do something, but whatever. Black and white's probably easier to do, or if there's a preset to make it red, I could bang it with a preset that Steven whips together real quick for me that just makes it red. So red generally means stop, like no good, like the X that's red. Just something different. But I liked what they did, and that's why I felt that I should reach out to him and just say, hey, I like what you did. Are you cool if I, do the same, something similar?
Yeah.
Right.
It's a great way to showcase out of focus images during a burst.
I could have just done it and been like, I didn't see your video with it. Who do you think of? Like,
just
why the
happens
fuck?
to be the same thing. Crazy.
The best thing to do is just literally ask. I mean, that's just a respect thing that you do, and you just pay homage to where things are done. You cite your source, and who knows if he's the original to do it? It's just where I saw it done. So I definitely have soccer players with EVF recording running directly at me at 600 millimeters because I knew I couldn't touch the zoom ring, and I think it did very well. So it's such a this is a tough one to make a decision on. I think a lot of the sports shooters might really enjoy it to give them more options to work with when they're shooting, more than just, because very few of them use a 600. They'll use a 400 and a 70 to 200. Like Mitch at the Phillies, 400 Sony, 70 to 200 Sony. Would a 300 to 600 be better? You're missing out on the quick burst, which is definitely where you're gonna miss certain peak action because you don't have the burst that you're used to having, and you're going to have trouble with that zooming thing.
So someone like Mitch, a professional sports photographer, is he shooting at full 30 frames per second with an A1 II or an A1 at this point? Or is
he's still using
limiting
A1s.
his frame rate?
No, he's probably at 20 frames a second, so it's not much of a difference.
Okay, because I think of someone like Evan Vucci, who you interviewed, where he said
8 frames.
Yeah, he limits it to 8 frames per second. Granted, he's not shooting sports, but he's obviously shooting everything, action, photojournalism in general.
President's getting shot,
Yeah.
That's what he did.
Imagine if he had in between frames of all that too.
Yeah, I mean it's personal choice, and 15 frames isn't anything to sneeze at because of course back in the day you had 1 frame when you could twist a knob, and then you had 3 frames, and then you could put a power winder and maybe get 4 or 5.
I mean, what we've always said is those really small in between moments that you're going to miss, like the bat on the ball, maybe the bat initially breaking or something along those lines. A bird hitting the ball, Randy Johnson style.
Speaking of Randy Johnson, his book is up for pre-order. And it starts shipping in a couple days. It's $75 for the book. It's $150 if you want it autographed. I don't want it. I don't need it autographed. I'll save my $75, but it's a very big book. It's 100 photos from his African trips, safaris and different things that he's done. And I was really happy to be able to get one. I talked to him the other day about it, and he's like, don't critique it too hard. I'm like, I'm not going to critique your photos, Randy. I'm happy that you're putting this book out, and I'm excited to get it and add it to my collection.
He would never be on camera for a critique, right?
Well, maybe.
That would be so cool.
We had the dinner the one time, and
the question is, would you hold back?
No. I actually, when I first met him through Twitter back in the day, he sent me a bunch of images to critique, and I recorded it for him personally and sent it back. look, it's not about ripping someone apart, anybody. It's about finding the positives, but not being afraid to point out, especially with athletes, people that are capable of being coached and are willing to learn. You got to say it like it is.
No, I agree. I'm talking more about a public critique versus a private critique.
Oh, well, I don't know. I never asked, so I don't really know. But his book is coming out. It's on his website. I don't think it was on Amazon. I think they only said there were 100 or 150 they were selling. I don't know how many books they ordered, but I have to check. But I ordered one. I know my buddy Matt Dirksen ordered one also.
I might have to order one too.
Yeah, you go to his Instagram. It's in the link, and you can go pick it up.
Would you ever do a safari book? Because at this point, going on 2 different safari expeditions.
I mean, I'm an expert at safaris now, so I am the greatest wildlife photographer of all time. I have enough stuff to do, so I could go back again and then do a book, but it's just like, it doesn't really interest me to do a safari book. It's not because it's not like we make money off of, it's not like I make money off of selling books. There's the expense for like book 2. I mean, they're like $50 a pop for me that I have to outlay for the 2,000 books.
I mean, did you even break even?
I think this time we're pretty damn close because I raised the price of the book compared to the Bernie book that when that was sold. And
in general, though, the price went up to make the book.
Yeah, the price went up a little bit, and I'm doing Swiss binding. It's going to be close. It's going to be close.
Any update on that, by the way?
Mid-March, I should have. So within a week or 2, I should have the first bound copy for me, and then the end of March, and then it gets on a boat. So May, unfortunately, like April, like end of April, May is like when they should land, and I can then get them packed and shipped. So I appreciate the patience of everybody that this took months longer than I wanted it to, but there was design things and delays that happened, and I wanted them here in fucking January. Like I wanted them pre-ordered before I even started selling them was my goal. And it just didn't happen. And so for this, I feel like it is what it is. When it was ready to be fully marinated was when it went to print, and just didn't want to rush something and fuck it up.
Hey, I backed Kickstarters that took years to come in the mail. Years. The one I backed,
I'm not a fan of that.
What was it called? It was like some kind of folding camera. It took 4 years. I had to literally change my address on the back end of Kickstarter because I moved during that period. That's how long it took.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, hopefully the quality is where I want it, and hopefully the Swiss binding is where I want it, because there's no going back. But I'm looking forward to getting it. I'm probably over it already, but whatever. But when I do get it, I'm probably going to go to Alan's camera after everybody's is shipped, by the way. I want to make sure everybody's is shipped before I start promoting and selling it to regular people, because that's bullshit when Kickstarters do that. They start shipping the orders to other people before the Kickstarter orders are shipped. Oh, yeah. That's just bullshit. But I will be doing an Alan's camera thing. I will be going to the Build Expo for B&H. So that's a place I might have books as well. Maybe I will talk to Danny Clinch about doing an event at his Clinch Gallery in Asbury Park, maybe one summer day, sell tickets to it and give away a book. Well, you would basically be buying a book and a speaking engagement, but so anyway, let's shift gears. I shot the Mets game. Everything handled very well out there. Very happy with the results so far. I haven't dove into the images too much because obviously I'm not home, so I don't have a big screen to work on. And I'm here in I'm staying in Orlando, right? I didn't know where I was going to stay, and then Mark, our follower, sent a text into our text line. Because you want to talk to us. The best way for us to do it is to read a text that comes in. Steven reads them. He'll let me know if something comes in. I generally read them except for when I travel. And so Mark dropped the line. He's like, "Hey, I work for this company. Maybe we could have you stay." And the place is called Evermore. It's in Orlando. It's 15 minutes from the Magic Kingdom or whatever. It's 20 minutes from, what's that other? Universal. And it's like 25 minutes or 30 minutes from the airport. So it's not bad at all.
Yeah.
So anyway, I ended up staying here. We worked out a thing together. Of course, I made some Insta stories. If you haven't seen them yet, go and check them out. I did do a reel, but the Insta stories are funny because They left me a whole bunch of like snacks and candies and all of this stuff.
All stuff you will not eat.
Well, the gummy bears I like, but I just don't eat a lot of that. Of all the things I really would want are just a couple of M&Ms or a piece of chocolate cake, not 7 tubs of, let's see, there's jelly beans, there's Sour Patch Kids, there's gummy bears, there's these crispy balls with chocolate on them, which didn't really have much flavor. There's Skittles, which I absolutely will never eat. And
You only edit with them.
yeah, and there was like a ton of water in the fridge that I had to take out because I don't like cold water. Let me just tell you this. They scratch my back. I scratch their back.
Funny
you
about
know,
my
the funny
back.
thing about their back, it's located on my cock. Shit. Mark's going to have to play this for his boss now, and we just quoted that. But no, they hooked me up with the room here. Actually, I'm staying in what's called a flat. It has 4 rooms and it can store 11. I keep saying store, can house 11 people. There's a room for kids that has bunk beds. So it has a queen bunk bed on the bottom for one, a regular twin, a twin above, and a twin above. And then it has a bathroom, and it's just like you could have 5 kids stay in that bedroom.
Massive.
Which is insane. And then you have 3 other rooms with queen beds. Every room has a bathroom. There's a main kitchen area, a family room area, big ass TV, washer and dryer, because I know that's important for people with kids because kids are always shitting their pants.
Every night doing wash, yep.
That's crazy. So they have that full kitchen with a ton of knives because I played with the knives. I rotated them so they're for left-handers now. So when I pick it up with my left hand so the knife is facing me, facing the left and not the right, because then it's upside down. So now it's the right way for me, but not the next person. There's an incinerator. You could cook food here. There's a lagoon out there that's like 8-acre pool. It's an actual pool. The room is $1,300, by the way. I hate when influencers don't give you the important information and then you go to the website and you're like, $1,300, that's absurd. But when you break it down, if you have 11 people, you have, say, 2 families or 3 families staying in this, because there's room for 3 families, it's might be a little more than a hotel, a regular hotel, not a Disney hotel. But the amenities that they have, I haven't even walked it yet. I'm about to walk it to go find lunch and just see it. They have the golf course. It's huge. Oh, and they have houses that could store up to 33 people for a night. Anyway, go ahead, Steven. This is more up Steven's alley because he comes to Disney.
So we've stayed on property and off property. We've split places 3 ways because I've stayed with my sister's family.
Wait
I've
a
stayed
second.
with my brother's
You've
family.
had 3 ways with your sister's family?
Oh my God. And yeah, usually we're spending $2 to $3 grand per family roughly. But if you stay on resort, you're talking a lot more. If you're staying, say, for a full week, like Saturday to Saturday, I know a lot of people do more of like an extended weekend in Disney because it's so damn expensive, like a 5-day or 4-day visit. But typically for a week-long stay on a Disney resort property, you're looking at $4 grand, and we're not talking about the nicer rooms. We're talking about kind of the middle of the road.
Yeah, the rooms suck at Disney.
So if you break this flat down, it's what, $9 grand for the week, roughly, if you do a full 7 days. And that's, again, if you do a full 7 days. But if you're splitting that with a family, you're looking about the same pricing of staying on property in Disney. So it's really not that bad. Still a lot of money, don't get me wrong.
No, it's an option. Like, from a business standpoint, I like talking about marketing, advertising, and all of that. The whole, when I reach out to companies, I don't sit there and be like, I'm going to give you so much reach, give me shit for free. It's like, hey, potentially is there a discount and I'll do a couple of stories and whatever. Usually I go overboard like I did with the stories and the reel last night because I always go over. I like to over deliver. Plus I want Mark to look good because he's the one who reached out to us and made it happen. It's like no skin off my back. I'm saving some money and I'm promoting, giving them some promotion here because it's all about awareness. If you look up Evermore and you go on their Instagram or you go to their website, you're going to be retargeted with 8 billion ads for Evermore because that's how retargeting works. But whatever, it's here. Oh, there is a code, by the way, that I forgot. FRO25 through May 19th, you can get 25% off your stay. There are blackout dates for some dates in April, which are spring break, which they're probably sold out for.
That's a pretty solid discount because, again, if you're staying for a good week, you're probably shaving off $2 grand or more on that final price.
Some might say Evermore, Stephen.
Okay, Taylor Swift.
That's right. That's right. So if you're a Swiftie, anyway, we'll move on from there. I do appreciate Mark reaching out with that. And I love the aspect of just, they sent me a whole bunch of notes. Like, here's things about the room. I didn't read it. I mean, I read it, but
that's so weird. It's kind of like doing notes for every video that we film. Jared, did you read the notes? I didn't read the notes. Great.
I read it. It was just too much. And so I went with the stuff that I like to talk about. But, just the basic things of having the washer dryer in the room. There's a dishwasher. There's an incinerator for a kid to stick his arm down, except they can't because there's a button to press that's up high. They give me love. I give them love. And that's it.
What's the horsepower on that bad boy? Enough to take off an arm or no?
Well, I asked about that last night. I was like, is this one of those 1 horsepower incinerators like me? I didn't really see what kind, and I didn't turn it on to hear, but it's probably not the 1 horsepower.
The standard's what, like a half horsepower or something?
Yeah, or 0.25 or a quarter horsepower.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Is that like a miniature pony or something power? Isn't that like one of those little ponies? Maybe it's a My Little Pony.
Straight out of the womb.
Anyway, it's beautiful out right now, and I'm sitting in the room. So I want to take a walk after this. I think we hit everything that I wanted to hit. I have a few more things to photograph. I've got the duck bills, spoon bills, whatever the hell they're called, with the Nikon ambassador. My stuff will be in focus.
Oh, I was waiting for it.
Hey. Now I want to learn from her. People seem to love birds.
I'm curious what they are going to be shooting with, because Nikon has a nice lineup of those long lenses. Like, you have the 800-6.3, the 600-6.3, the 400
Paul
f4.
had the 600-6.3 today.
And then you got the 180 to 400 f4 with the teleconverter.
Fuck your teleconverter. Wait, 180 to 400 is an f4?
Yeah.
Really?
And it has the built-in TC on top of that.
Holy shit. So Paul was like, I'm having trouble with autofocus, but it's good. I still get what I need, because he has a Z9 and he had the 600 6.3. I'm like, honestly, it's hard to go to another system, because Nikon, for nature, for those wildlife people, even though the focus is hit or miss sometimes, nobody else has those prime lenses like that are affordable primes that are fixed.
Relatively speaking, affordable, because
compared to a $16,000 lens.
Sure, but the 800-6.3 is still $6,500.
But that's an 800. What's the 600-6.3?
The 600-6.3 is normally $4,800. It's on sale for $3,800 right now.
It's $1,000. That's cheap, Steven. I'll take 7.
What I really like is their 400-4.5. That's $2,800 on sale right now, and that's a great option to have, opposed to that $12,000+. No, actually, isn't Nikon's 400-2.8 is $14,000 because it has the TC built in, right?
Yeah, it's pricier. Yeah,
it's on sale right now for $13,000, normally $14,000. Man, see, but what I do like about Nikon's system is they have those premium option primes that are better, in my opinion, than Canon's like 600 f11, 800 f11, where they're more the budget friendly. Granted, it is nice to have those options too. I just wish they had both. Give me a premium option and give me that budget friendly option.
I like that premium prime. I'm going to trademark that. Steven Eckert.
Premium prime.
Premium prime.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Canon 600 f11 is $800.
Yeah.
But it's an f11.
Yeah. All right. I got to wrap up because I want to go get outside. It's nice.
Much shorter Raw Talk this week for obvious reasons.
It's not that short.
It's definitely shorter.
You're getting gypped out of 10 minutes, people. Support our presets to get more.
And it might sound like we're talking over each other at certain times because there is a little bit of a lag here with the travel and everything, but hopefully it sounds good enough.
Anyway, guys, this is RAWtalk 142. When I get home, I'm going to be getting to that 300 to 600 review because I know a lot of people want to know what love is.
And I think we might try and film it right away, maybe even this week. Actually, by the time this podcast comes out, it might already be filmed.
We'll see. I have to go through the images, and it might be done a little different. Like I might sit at the computer like I did old school style and go over some things. We'll see. Something a little different because I think this lens deserves more than some other lenses because I know a lot of people, $6,000 is a lot of money to spend, and I want to take extra precaution and care to get it right.
There you go.
All right. Raw Talk episode 141, guys. Thank you very much for listening. Jared Polin, frontnosphoto.com/see ya. I don't even know what that meant, Steven. Bye.
Bye.